All right, go start. We're
All
good.
right. Welcome everybody to this Tuesday. Glad you guys all decided to show up. Follow-up, big priority in the real estate business. I think I talked about this last week and I told you guys that we talk to a lot of agents, and if you ask an agent exactly what their challenges are, number one, always follow-up. I don't have a system. I don't do it. I got tons of leads in my pipeline that I don't take advantage of. I don't have a system. I don't know what to say, right? So our goal here over the next couple of weeks is to make sure that you guys have a badass system. Number one, right? You know how to leverage your technology. Number two, you know what to say. Number three? Yeah, number three. And number four, that you're executing every single week. Listen, if you're shitty at follow-up right now, here's the great news. If you implement what we're asking you to do, I guarantee you a 90% increase in business. 90%, because that's where the majority of your business should be coming from right now. So if you don't have great follow-up systems, the huge upside is you're going to be doing a whole lot more here pretty soon. Okay, so we're going to get into that. But before we do, quick reminder, we've got our event tomorrow, Thursday. Michelle, you want to get into that just really quickly?
Yeah, we've got the Top Agent Mastermind. How many of you guys are going to be there on Thursday in Bellevue?
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I probably won't.
Shelby's gonna
If
be
you're
there.
not in Washington, I can actually send you the link and you can attend virtually. It's not an EXP recruiting event per se, guys. It is a mastermind group where we're actually giving you skill set from the top producers, not only within the co-founders group, but in our industry. We've got agents who are doing over 100 deals a year. You got Randy Shackley, who you guys have all heard, badass when it comes to scripts and training and process. And then Amber, who's one of the top agents in all of Washington State, does different things to get business, really into the client relationship thing and building her business that way. Going to be great content that I want all of you guys to be a part of, regardless of whether you're physically in the room or not. All right. We also have Friday, Michelle.
Real quick here on Thursday, guys, because I know Cooley and I have a ton of people that are just individually reaching out to us. We are going to do the live stream for those of you guys that are out of market. And what we're working on already, because we're getting this question every single day, is we're working on getting a link prior. So if we're able to, what day is today? Tuesday, Cooley. So if we're able to, by before Thursday, watch for us. We will announce it. Okay, we will announce here's the link, here's the invite, but plan it will be live streamed. So if you're doing a watch party, if you're planning on watching it yourself, if you're in Canada, if you're in Florida, wherever you're at, know that it will be live streamed. We're just working on if we can get a link ahead of time, other than just as it goes live and then get posted out to you guys. So it will be posted on the group. It will be posted in the chats. It will be there for everyone. I just need you guys to know where to look. So Cooley and I are working with 50 individual, requests for it. So that will be coming. Okay. Anything to add on that?
All right. Nope, that's it. Okay.
And then Friday, guys, I'm making sure I have a good head count. I think I pushed it quite a bit. So I've gotten like a lot, some additional registries through. Just two things on our New Year's kickoff appreciation party to you guys. That will be in South King County on Friday night. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So music, food, drinks, whatever you guys want to do. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna have some fun stuff. We're gonna have some fun awards. We're gonna have some fun stuff we're giving out. So make sure.
That kid was excited. Free stuff. All right.
It's Todd's cute baby. But just make sure you guys come. I posted, in case anyone doesn't look at the stuff that we share, we are supporting Northwest Harvest. Okay. If you're like, I don't know what that means, I didn't hear that, I've posted it with the reminders on the Facebook group. Please go on there. I think I did another reminder yesterday that has the links. But we are supporting that local food drive, and we are giving out additional drink tickets with it. So come with that in hand. I want to be able to show out
with what, like canned food or something?
Yeah, your typical. And in the link,
yeah, bring some string beans.
On the
you know
link,
what I mean?
It shows you the kind of stuff
greedy with your string beans.
On the link, it'll show you what kind of stuff they need this time of year. And it's all sorts of stuff, but it's to help the local
probably
community.
String beans.
So
all right.
I want to make a push on that for you guys to please, check, look at that, be prepared, and we're excited to see you guys on Friday.
So before we jump into today's content, guys, we had a great sales training last week. on this same topic, right? And the one promise we all made to ourselves at the beginning of this year is that we're going to focus on implementation, right? Making sure that we're extracting this information that all the top producers are doing across the industry, implementing it so that we wind up in a better position at the end of this year than we were the year before, right? We all made that commitment together. So I just want to recap. Michelle, if we could do a quick recap of the action items from last week. And then I want to show of voices on how many of us took that seriously, implemented that, or how many people need to catch up.
So we gave you guys 4 questions as your action items and homework to leave with. Number 1, do I know where to put my leads? Let me just list them all out.
Yeah.
And number 1, where do I put my leads? Number 2, do I know how to set them up? We talked about leveraging technology, right? Do I know how to set them up? Number 3, do I have the time scheduled to make my follow-up calls? And number 4, do I know what to say?
Okay. So question for all of you guys, and I want you to kind of give me your voices because I can't see all the faces. How many of you guys decided to put your stuff finally in your KV Core CRM? How many of you guys took that step?
I did.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. The do I know what to say part? How many of you guys feel like you know what to say when you make these phone calls? How many of you guys need extra help there?
I know what to say, but I always need help.
I think a
That was
little bit of
good.
both, Chad. A little bit of both.
What's that?
I
Little
feel
bit of
like a
both.
little bit of,
Yeah,
little bit of both.
both. I agree.
Okay, well, we're going to be going over some more of the do I know what to say, because that's a big part, right? You can turn into a real creepo if you follow up the wrong way. Like, hey, Becky, I noticed that you clicked on a property at 123 Lake Street. I saw that, right? You don't want to be that person. So there are some strategic ways to reach out without feeling like a weirdo or that you're supervising somebody, right? We'll get into that a little bit more. How many of you guys scheduled the follow-up time in your calendar to make sure that you're actually doing something that most agents aren't doing? How many of you guys scheduled that?
Yes.
I scheduled it.
Nick, I'm looking at you wearing a hat. Nick, did you schedule it?
I'm just switching over from KW, so usually, yeah, for all my follow-up. I
You
always
made the
have
right
schedule.
choice. Congrats. Let's give Nick a round of applause. He made a great choice.
Welcome,
Yes.
Nick. Welcome, Nick.
Good
Thank you, thank
job.
you.
So guys, what I recommend doing so that you're not, you don't have to be overwhelmed with it every single day. But if you plan your prospecting time to be nothing but follow-up, like you call your fresh expireds on a Friday, right? Whatever you do, whatever your process is, and then you get into nothing but follow-up for the remainder of your prospecting time, there will not be a lead in your pipeline month after month that you haven't talked to in the past 30 days. If you think about, if you ask yourself that question right now, how many leads do I have in my pipeline that I have not followed up on in the past 30 days? I guarantee you that's a lot, right? So we got to close the gap, right? So good. So a lot of you guys did that. If you haven't done it yet, do it today. Put it in your calendar in the color red, right? Red zone in my calendar, follow up where 90% of my business is going to come from. Take that part seriously, right? So Michelle, let's get into what we're talking about today. We're going to give you some more action items at the end of this. So plug in.
Yeah, so I want to do, we're talking about how to really master the follow-up, the follow-up game, the follow-up process, put systems in place. And I hear the responses from everyone. Cooley and I deal with this, on a daily basis with everyone, of how many actually follow through with executing and put everything in place is what we're trying to push with you guys. So I want to touch on something really quick before we dig into the more, the more technical side, which is what I kind of was ending with this last week, right? And it's, does everyone remember I was talking about with how important the phone call is, right? So we segment our databases, they're organized, we get them all in there, we get them hooked up. What's the most important piece that we still do? You can tell me that. What's the most important thing that we do?
The connection.
Anyone else but Cooley is the only one?
Our follow-up.
The conversations.
No, is making the actual call, right? Is actually having the phone call. Here's reality, right? We're in a world where technology is going to be able to do a lot of this heavy lifting for us, right? It's how we're able to have those 48 touches or more a year. You're physically maybe just doing 6 to 12 of those, right? But this is what creates separation, because there's nothing that can substitute that call. This is how you're going to let the technology and automation do a lot of that heavy lifting and work for you. And by making the phone call on those structured timelines, that's going to allow you to find and catch people when they are ready. Okay.
Your technology is a safety net and a parser, right? That's all it is. It doesn't do your job for you. So understand that it's there to catch things, keep things warm, parse them, put them into different categories. That's great. But if realistically, technology has made most real estate agents lazy because, you know, most agents don't use a CRM. Most agents don't use their technology, but the ones who do think that that's all they need to do. Well, I've got them on drip campaigns, right? No, that's to parse. That's to like make sure that you're getting signals of who to follow up with.
And this is the world that we're in today, guys. We're in the world of leveraging mass automation and technology, which is awesome. And the reason I want to emphasize this before I go into that is it's also created the type of agents and salespeople we have in our industry today, right? This is how you create your separation. You're making the phone calls, you're making the contact, right? The consumer is smarter, right? They can see stuff that's automated versus there's nothing that can compare MK to that phone call and having a real conversation with him about what's going on right now, right? Jonathan, there's nothing that can ever replace that when a lead immediately comes in, let alone that follow-up call throughout, right? There's nothing that will ever replace that. Yet we know the majority of the industry doesn't, and it's only worse in the current age that we're in now. So I want to hit that home with everyone as we show you how to set up all this technology, right? And have your systems running in place, because that's imperative, right? But this is how you create your separation. Is you have that time scheduled, structured, you are making your touches, you're going to find and catch people when they're ready, and you're going to be the degree of separation that has the conversations that are real to move people forward.
These companies spend billions of dollars to try to take your job with technology, right? Like Zillow, Redfin, all of these companies have tried to use AI to cut out the real estate agent so that they can just go directly to a system. They failed to do that, right? And it's basically proven that real estate is a people-to-people business, right? And so that's why we're hitting that point so hard that you can't just rely on technology. You have to make those phone calls too.
Right. Now, I want to do a quick shout out, industry shout out. Does anyone know one of my good friends, Greg Harrelson, over on the East Coast in South Carolina? Nick, you do?
Myrtle Beach, Greg Harrelson. He's him and
That's
Kevin
right.
Mills, man. They're beasts.
Who else? Anyone know that name? Anyone else know
I
that
know
name?
the name. Yep.
Maybe a couple of you guys are following
I
stuff
don't know
online.
him.
Maybe from me. Jamie, I know you
These
spent some time.
guys crushing it. And every agent that's within that system crushes it.
So the reason I bring this up, guys, is I like to share why winners win, right? So Greg Harrelson and his operation, they've been really good friends of mine for years. I've been kind of masterminding and networking with them for a long time. But, you know, so he owns the #1 office in South Carolina by a long shot. Okay. He has one of the highest per person productivity companies in the country. And their business, the reason I want to emphasize this, right, is he comes from that. The foundation of their business is all skill-based and prospecting-based, right? And you guys have maybe even seen me post stuff of this in the past.
For those of you guys who, Michelle, Brendan Payne did a listing presentation for our entire group. I don't know how many of you guys saw that, right? When we brought him on this Tuesday meeting, does like 150 deals a year. He's a product of Greg Harrelson and is involved in that Greg Harrelson system.
To give you guys an example, yeah. So some of you might have seen when I brought Brendan Payne on here. So this group, I was at dinner with them. This was maybe a year ago. I think it was in Dallas, and I posted a picture, and I was like, the 5 people at this table, which basically I was included in the 5, but exclude me, right? Of what they're selling individually as personal individuals was 800 transactions that year. Okay. It was this agent sold 185. This agent was 300 and something. This agent was 200. This agent was 150 by themselves, right? Just to give you an example of what I'm sharing with you. And so the reason I bring this up is because you're talking about what are the best of the best doing. Okay. And one of the reasons we started collaborating really early on is because as a foundation, nothing ever substitutes the skill of what to say, how to say it, and going out there and prospecting and building your business. That is the foundation to everything, how he leads and coaches and develops his people, right? And that's just the examples, the short examples I gave you there, right? That is the product of that type of coaching and training and mentorship, like most of you guys that are here with us, right? That is the foundation of what we do. Now, what makes them unique, okay, is they come also from the foundation of how do we leverage technology? How do we leverage building that massive database, which is your target audience over time, and leverage the custom automation that we have today on top of that with our prospecting efforts, so that over the years, right, after 1, 2, 3, 4 years of that compounding, you're creating this massive outbound and inbound engine. You guys follow me? I talk about this all the time, right? This is what we were talking about last week. This is what we talk about constantly in these coachings. He is one of the masters of that system, is to crush any of the competition with the sales skills with going out there and prospecting, but building that massive database over time to create that inbound engine of people that are reaching out to you that you're touching on. Okay. It's why these agents are selling hundreds of homes by themselves, right? Because they're that strong of prospectors and communicators. Got this huge engine that's feeding them. And if anyone remembers, even when I had the same as for Kevin Mills, Brendan Payne, all these guys, where when we've had them on here or just sitting down and having the conversation, I remember Brendan specifically sharing, right? This is how it started, right? This is what took me to get to 150, 150 plus homes. It was prospecting, making 50 contacts a day, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm getting a little feedback. I'm going to mute a couple of you guys. And then it was fast forward X amount of years. Well, now it's a fraction of that. I still prospect every day, but it's a fraction because my engines had compounded and built for me. And this is the reason I share this whole story to you guys, is this is what it means to be a top producer, right? You can't be reliant on, I just have to go do this. And I have to do that same thing every day for 12 years from now, right? Amanda, you need to have your systems and your processes in place that are working and building for you. So you have the compound effect of both. And that's what I want to hit home with you guys. I've been talking to Greg. I will pick a date where I can have him come out and talk to our group. That'll be a really fun treat that we'll market. And you guys can pick his brain and ask questions. Incredible agent. He himself probably sold, I think, 500-600 homes back in the day. And then again, runs a massive, massive organization of prospecting agents and leveraging technology and automation. So a lot of good stuff there. So I'll keep you guys posted with that to come. Anything you want to add, Cooley?
No, that's perfect. They've got a high level system of accountability going too, right? And so the one thing that I want to remind you guys when it comes to building your business and leveraging these follow-up processes is you have to be coachable and you have to be accountable, right? Number one. And that's one of the toughest things for agents to deal with, right? Because they'll say, man, I need accountability. That's all I need is accountability. And then you get that call from somebody like me going, Amanda, this is what you said you wanted to do. Why are you doing this now, right? And an agent's first instinct is to pull back and to get mad, right? Well, why am I having to explain myself to somebody else, right? It's because these are your standards, and without accountability, you could do this without accountability, but you've got to hold yourself accountable. You know what I mean? So accepting accountability, guys, when it comes to your follow-up and your prospecting is going to be huge, okay? Be accountable, number one. Michelle?
So I'm going to, I just want to set that tone, right? Because I think most of us aspire to, thank you guys, you're building my skill set, you're holding me to the foundation of how to build my business. But what does this look like long-term? And that's what I want to ingrain in all of you guys from day one. So you're building your business the right way, right? And it's
really quickly, speaking of accountability, like we're going over a follow-up process right now that's going to help a lot of you. I see a lot of little circle-faced avatars on here, which means you're probably doing something else, okay? And to just call you out real quick, where 90% of your business should be coming from, this is a meeting that you've got to be dialed into. Because if you raised your hand and you said, there are leads in my pipeline that I've not followed up on in the past 30 days, and your camera's off and you're talking on the phone and doing other things, man, this is the reason why you are terrible at follow-up, right? Plug in, get dialed in, cameras on, let's go.
So quick question for our share screens. How many of you guys coming out of last week feel, okay, remember showed you guys the different ways to segment your database, and I literally walked you through an example client, right? Like I generate this potential lead. They're not ready to do something yet. Do exactly this with them. How many of you guys feel 100% confident? Yep, I know exactly how to do that. And I've already set my people up. How many of you guys? I saw Drew's hand, but I can't see everyone. So is it safe to say very little of you, right? Like this is, tell me exactly what to do. Is that safe to say?
Yeah,
that's
I think
Yeah.
that's safe
That
to
was
say.
my assumption leading up to this. So what I'm gonna do
100.
now is, so go back to, just in case anyone that wasn't here last week, you can go back and watch the recording, and I encourage you to, because it was super, super important, buttoned up with this one. So we talked about an exact process to follow, right? I don't want to go step by step through that. I want to focus on the technology side, but I walked you through exactly how to set your standard of what that follow-up means to you on what client types. Okay, does anyone remember what I said for client A? What's someone that would be in a category A? What would that timeline standard be as an example? Can anyone tell me what that was from last week?
Daily call.
I didn't hear that.
In the
I said-
next 30 days.
I said daily call.
They're doing something in the next 30 days, but like this is my follow-up standard, right? Like they're in this timeline, so I follow up this often, right? What was client B? So client in my B bucket, what were they?
The next 3 to 6 months.
The next 12 months. Yeah, so within 12 months. Correct.
Okay.
And then what was C?
Eventually.
Anyone longer than that?
We know they're gonna do
Down
something.
the road,
Yeah, and then what was D?
the rest of your database.
Everyone else. And do you guys remember the term I used for that I want to start to condition you guys with, right? Do you remember the term?
Target
I used for that?
audience?
That's generic. Your target audience, right? This is everyone. This is everyone you come in contact with, everyone you interact with as it comes up.
Write this down, that those leads that you think are not hot leads are your target audience. You are going to do business with those. They're not bad leads. They are your target audience.
We're going to drip on them forever with automation. Okay.
Forever.
So those are your 4 categories that you segment your database with. So what I'm going to do, and then I gave an example, right? And I'll actually just reciprocate this. So let's say we generate client X, right? They're a potential lead, but they have no definite timeline. Like they're not going to buy or sell right now. What do we do with them, right? So they're going into the database, right? And now we're going to hook them up on automation, right? We want to set them up on a market report, which I'll walk you guys through how to do. We want to set them up on a just listed, just sold alert once a month, which I'm going to show you how to do. We want to be able to send out a mass text, email, or video to our whole database that you record once, that's going to everybody once a month, right? So that's already 36 touches, okay, that they're getting each of you. And then guess what? Depending on what flavor they're in, what bucket they're in, you're making your touch to them. That's 6 to 12 a year. Now you've got your 48 touches. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Very, very simple. It's a very simple formula. It's just walking you guys through, like you need to do A, B, C, D, right? On every single person. I'm going to show you the process to set up after I show you how to do it. But I want everyone to walk away and have this recording to go, oh, I can go follow this easy. And this is how you set it up. Okay. So let me share screens. Give me,
It's for both, Derek, for both.
what was the question?
Is this for buyers or sellers?
This is everyone. This is any lead, any contact, anyone you talk to, work in your database, farming, prospecting, circle
Agent attraction, same thing.
traction. It's all the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, anyone that missed last week needs to go back and watch last week's masterclass. Very, very important. Okay. So I'm just simply
Thank you,
looking
Amanda.
at my KV Core, guys. Okay. And I'm just going to give you the quick tutorial so you don't have to go watch like tons of official trainings inside of like EXP or KV Core. I'm just going to show you exactly how to do it right here. So obviously I'm logging into my KV Core. So from here, okay, first of all, the super basics, I don't need to show you guys, I don't think, but go to your smart CRM. This is what takes you to all of your clients and your people, right? Your target audience, just everybody. This is a whole list of everybody. From here is where I get to go add someone new, of course, right? I'll answer questions separately for people wanting to import in lists and stuff like that. That's not what I want. I want to show you those 4 pieces of automation, okay? So you add someone. I've got my database as you guys as agents, but I'm going to show you an example how simple this is. Okay. So I'm going to pull up myself as an example. Everyone should have themselves in here as a test profile, by the way. So I'm just going to pull myself up. Here I am. So those of you that don't know how hashtags work yet, this is how you categorize your database by anything you want, right? Because we can sort them by buyer, seller, agent, right? That's all great. But what are the details? Is this an open house lead, right? Is this in my A bucket, B bucket, C bucket, D bucket, right? What are these, right? So all you simply do is inside the contact over here on the left where it says hashtag, okay, Amanda, you simply put hashtag, and I'm just going to put, for sake of simplicity, I'm going to say a client, right? That is now my A bucket. So I can sort at any time in the future by my A bucket, right? Because I'm going to maybe drip on them, or obviously I'm contacting them at a more often frequency, right? I can then pull up and sort by my B bucket, my C bucket, okay? And you can add as many hashtags as you want. This could be someone in hashtag FinHill community. This could be someone in hashtag open house because they were open house. Someone I got it as an open house lead. They could also be hashtag group A because there's someone trying to do something within the next 30 days. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yep.
And
Yes.
hashtag as much as you want, okay? And I'm keeping this super simple so everyone knows how to do this. This is 100% important for everyone in here to be able to manage and segment their database, okay? So you can manage it correctly. So now that I've put a hashtag in, all you do is add the hashtag, hit enter, you've now assigned a hashtag, okay? And the hashtags can be anything you want. Just once you label it that and you add people to those groups, it has to be the same. So I'm going to X out of this client. Now I'm going to show you what I do, okay? So now I can go back to my whole database, which is just my smart CRM. This is going to be everybody, right? So here's everyone in that system. And I can at any time simply put in here a hashtag by a client, search, and it's going to pull up anyone. I did this on purpose for you guys. I just hashtagged a handful of people just because, right? So now I can sort by those 5 people, those 50 people, 500 people, all with one option, right? Does everyone see what I'm doing?
Yep.
Yes.
Also pull up everybody if I wanted to, okay? This is how, any questions on how to segment your database, that's where it starts, okay? And real quick here, we talked about, segment A was anyone ready to go within 30 days. These are my standards I set out as an example. You can follow those or set up your own target standard, right, Amanda? So for you, client in A bucket might mean this. Client in bucket B might mean this. The point is that you have a standard and you know what you're doing with them. You know who's in bucket C, right? So I just gave you examples last week that you can follow or just know what those standards are for yourself. Any have questions on that?
No.
No? Fairly simple. Everyone knows how to go in and do a hashtag now? And it's that
Yep.
simple. Once you assign the hashtag, I can now search by any hashtag. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into any client record. Okay. So we're going to start with how do we create that automation? Okay. So I gave you a live example of what I would be doing. And again, I'll also show you a couple of other things you could also add and how to do them. But these are the main things I would do with every single person. Okay. Every single person, whoever they are that comes into this database. And then there's, if they were an active buyer, there's a couple other things I would do. If they were an active seller, there obviously would be a couple other things I might do, which I'll show you guys as well. So once you're in the client record, right? I'm in the Michelle Wilson client contact record, right? On the right is where all your automation is. So here's the number one that you guys all should be using for everybody, okay? It's simply your market update report, okay? Everybody by default, I don't care if this is your sphere, this is a renter, this is a future seller, this is a future buyer, this is anyone that lives in a neighborhood, doesn't matter who they are. Would they find a custom market report that's letting them know what's happening in their neighborhood valuable from you ongoing? Would someone find that valuable?
100%.
Every single person is. Every single person is going to find value in, Amanda, you sending them an update once a month from you, see what's happening in the marketplace, decreases, increases, days on market, prices going up, prices going down, relative to exactly where they live, okay? So every single person should be put on this market update report, you guys, and it's just right here on the right, okay? All you do is come here and you click add, and all you're going to do is put in your zip code, okay? There's different things. I think there's different options to pull stuff. I just do it by zip code, okay? And then from there, you get to select how often. So I defaulted to 28 days for most people, unless they were a super hot active client, right? So maybe this is a seller looking to sell right now, right? Or an active listing. I would put them on a 7-day report, right? For everybody else, I'm pretty much going to send this out once a month, okay? So, but you do have the options here. This is how easy this is. Plug it in, put the timeline, I hit add, okay? Moving forward, automatically, forever, it's set up once and done, right? They're going to get a custom live relevant report from me showing everything that they want to know about the marketplace, okay? If you guys don't know what this looks like, set it up for yourself, set it up and click send now, and you're going to see exactly what your clients are getting, okay? And how they can interact with you.
Everybody should make a note of that. If you're not in your own CRM system, if you're not getting your own drips and things like that, you need to put yourself in your KV core and set yourself up on a campaign, just so you know what's happening.
So
Yeah.
is the market report that you have to generate, or does this automatically?
No, this is all automated.
Automatic.
So this is a custom report with your picture, your information coming out personally from you, giving them up to date to their neighborhood, right? And it's literally like, it's prices are going up and here's the average medium for your neighborhood. Here's average days on market. Here's what's going up, what's going down. Here's what recently sold in your neighborhood or recently listed. It's everything, as well as the ability to ask questions to you, right? And access you. This report is
Question.
relevant to everybody. Go ahead.
What about like you said, if it's, it's anyone and everyone, what if it's an open house? Do you just use that zip code that they came to the open house? Or do you do you have,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. So and I'll just add to that really quick. So I come from a big internet lead generation background from when internet lead generation started in the industry. That shows how old I am. So we were one of the pioneers to internet lead generation before it existed. Okay.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is I've worked massive amounts of internet leads. And so when you're going to get people with phone numbers, emails, one or the other, right? They don't respond. They do all sorts of stuff, right? And so what you want to condition yourself to do is the moment you capture someone, obviously the initial goal. So let's just pretend the concept of an internet lead, right? That's the scenario, okay? Or if it was an open house and you only got one piece of information, okay? Your objective is, of course, to contact them, engage them, find out what's going on with them, and collect the information needed, right? In the event that you don't, you should by default, the second you guys make contact with anyone, guys, or a potential lead, right? Or whatever it might be, they inquired, they looked at this house, whether it was through an open house or they inquired on something online, whatever that form was, okay? You should automatically be setting them up on a market report based on what they looked at, right? Because that's all you have to go off of. They looked at that, they probably are interested in something similar, right? So you just do a really simple, similar report around that property, okay, that they either inquired about and or were at the open house, whatever, okay? And same thing goes with, I would be putting them on a property search just on this topic, just by default. Let's pretend they're looking, Darius, at a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes in whatever, in Puyallup, okay? Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to automatically put a market report together and put them on a new listing alert. Even if I haven't reached them, I can't reach them. I'm attempting to reach them for homes in Puyallup, that rough price range, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, let it send to them, right? They'll tell you, they'll start looking, or they'll tell you they want it removed, right? Or actually,
Yeah.
I'm here. Actually, I'm looking in this price range, right? Does that make sense on how you capitalize on everything you come in contact with? You should be doing this by default.
Money is in the data.
Market report works for everybody, which is why it's so great. Again, your sphere, neighborhoods, all of the above, a market report will always be relevant. Okay.
If we know they looked in like 3 different zips, do we put them all in there or?
Yeah. Yeah. This market report is, you try to stay as relevant. Again, hopefully you've had your warmest people are people you've had some kind of contact with. So you can have something more specific to set them up on. But I'm just using the example when you also get like cold potential leads that come through, just go off of whatever they inquired off of. I don't like, let's say they asked in this neighborhood, I don't set them up, I'm going to search for that neighborhood. I do the whole city, right? Does that make sense? I want to go broader, because if they're looking in Finn Hill, they might also be looking in Totem Lake. They might also be looking in, Kirkland. They might also be looking in, downtown Bothell. I'm just going to do the whole area. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
I'm just going to plug it in, and at least it'll create some other type of engagement because they're looking for properties.
So
And a
this,
market report's going to give them relevant information.
is this market report strictly by zip, or can you type in like an entire city that
It
covers?
also has, so if you guys saw me doing this here, so when I go, I can also search for location. It depends on how you're linked into your MLS. So it has a couple of different ways to do it. So you guys can plug that in, okay? Can I move on from this one? Any other questions? But this is, guys, how you grab attention from a far higher percentage versus just leaving it all for dead, okay? Is that starting to resonate for those of you that maybe hadn't run your business this way for years? This is where, think about if you've been in the business for 2 years, 5 years, 15 years, think about the impact that this would have long-term had automation, because it's all just, once you set it, it's called the set it and forget it. You don't have to change it again until this is how you identify leads, right? Which I'll talk about at the end, because now, Jason, they've raised their hand and they've reacted back to you. This could be a year later. This could be 2 days later. Hi, actually, we're looking for this. Or, hey, we're not interested. Remove us from everything. Great. You've created engagement, right? Or you know they're actively looking and they're starting to look a lot. You know how to engage them. This is how you
And they start doing things and creating activity that says, hey, you need to reach out to me because my activity has increased, which means my what has increased? Interest. I thought MK was going to get that because he's a loan officer.
So the second thing, guys, so number one is a market report. By default, everybody should get one, and I just default it to once a month, okay? The second thing that's valuable to people, okay? Again, no matter who they are, just being up to date with what's happening. So the market report's going to actually show, like, here's the trend, right? Whereas another great alert would be to do a simple property alert that's around, this is where you can get more custom, because this is just linked to like your maps, everything in the MLS, right? So obviously if you had an active buyer, just like you would set them up on the MLS, that's right here under property alerts, I can go in, I can literally do like a map, a grid, this school district, whatever I want, and it's going to feed directly from the MLS. Okay, that's what we would do for an active buyer. Now, what you can also do for anybody, which is very, very valuable, is to set them up on just a simple just listed report that goes out once a month. Okay. What this does is now you're not hitting them too much. If they were an active buyer, they're seeing real properties in real time, right? This would be anybody. Okay. Again, buyer, renter, long-term, don't know, whoever, put them on a monthly report based on what's generic and or specific to them. Okay. So in here, so I'm going to show you an example. Okay. So this is just my test profile. I can go in here and create all sorts of stuff. Okay. Once I put in the parameters, that person's looking in this school district or this city and this price range and bed, bath, whatever. Okay. At the bottom here, it's going to say the frequency. So if this was an active client, potential buyer looking to do something now, of course, or a new lead, I would have them getting properties the moment they hit the market, right? What I want to do for just my generic database is set them up. I want to change this frequency to monthly. Does that make sense to everybody? So two differences, active buyer versus just someone in my target audience or someone out there, right? A potential future client that isn't ready to go now. I'm going to put them on a monthly update because now what they're going to get, I'm just going to use, I'm from Finn Hill. So they own a property on Finn Hill, or they're a renter on Finn Hill or whatever. It doesn't matter, right? That's what they're interested in. Okay. They're now going to see once a month, here's the homes that had listed, and it's also going to show them below, here's the homes that have sold that fit this criteria. So they're going to get that live report just in a just listed and just sold form. Does that make sense? And that's important. That's having them see the actual properties, not what's trending up and down, right? That's them to see the actual homes that are in comparison of whatever they might be interested in, whether they're a seller or a buyer in future. Does that make sense to everyone? Again, you got to think about what's relevant to the consumer. Do I send them, nothing against this, do I send them recipes once a month? So here's an example. Some people like that. I used to use this example all the time. So like my dad, right? Bless his heart. Jason Schaefer would love you if you sent him like annoying facts and jokes like once a month. He would like talk to you forever for the next 20 years, right? Like he'd be your client for life. If you sent me that, I would never talk to you again, right? The information, do you guys get what I'm saying? There's differences there. It doesn't mean that that's not good to send out. Know your client, okay? I want to make sure I'm sending out information that's relevant to somebody, okay? And this is all simple foundational stuff, guys, but as I think the bigger, I mean, look at the pool of people I have on here. How many people have already been doing this by default? And I want like truthfully do a shout out, or like, I've already been doing this for years. Like I hook everybody up.
I've been doing this.
I've been doing this for months.
So there should be hopefully some of you guys, but it's still the lack. I would say it's less than 10%. Would you agree with that, Cooley, MK?
100% less than 10%.
Less than 10%, right? For sure. It's less than 10% that are actually doing these foundational items. But you guys seeing how this is actual relevant value that you're setting up for that potential consumer?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of
Another
people
question.
get stuck on, like, what do I send? Like, this is what people want to see. This is the how, right? This is what's specific and relevant to them. You said it once, forget it. You don't got to do anything else after that. Okay.
Well, again, question real quick.
Yeah.
I'd rather just recorded everything, so I'm just kind of.
Can you hear? I don't know if you're talking to me or in the background. Okay, I'm muting her because I don't know if she was talking to me. Go ahead, whoever said that question.
That's me. So when you said it's going to go to, it's going to be families that are listings that have just listed and just sold, does that mean you need to put in the keywords just sold, or because now you have
no, because it'll show
it automatically does it?
It's because I want you guys to send these to yourself Because what you'll notice is it'll send them what came on the market, and down below it always shows what's sold in the neighborhood, what in that criteria. It'll do the same thing actually in that market report. The market report's just going to show them, right, the changes in the market, right? Prices have gone up, prices have gone down. Here's the days on market now. Here's the price range now, today, this month, right? And then at the bottom, it's going to show what's sold recently in that zip code or in that neighborhood or parameters that you have set up. So the same thing will happen here is they'll see, here's the homes that came on the market in Finn Hill. Here's also what's sold. So you guys need to set yourselves up so you see what these reports look like.
So Michelle, when you have a property boost, KV Core automatically, when somebody clicks on it, sets them automatically up on a buyer campaign, like a new lead buyer campaign. So are you saying to go into that too, and then also in addition to that, set them up on a market report
Yes.
and a property alert?
Donna, when let me show two more things, then I want you to ask that exact question because I want to summarize that to something. And yes,
Okay.
yes, okay, but I want you to ask it again so I can kind of demonstrate it.
Okay,
Okay, so guys, I've shown you now, okay, so I showed you how to do a market report. I've showed you how to do a just list. So here's the market report. I've shown you how to do a just listed, just sold alert, okay? The other thing these are the three things that I think are most important that everyone should do 100% of the time on every single person, okay? The next thing you should do is you should be doing some kind of custom touch that you are creating. So this would be, Evan, this would be your market update video, right? It's your little video of the market, or whether you do that in an email, whether you do that in a text, or like, here's what's happening, right? You're doing some kind of update that's important, that's like current information, right? It could even be around products. It could be around something, right? But something of value to give out to your database. And that really should go to everyone, right? So now when I go, let me go out of this client. So this goes back to my full CRM, right? And I've got everybody.
I get those lovely videos from Matt Walker all the time.
Yes. So this is how you do it, guys. This is how simple it is, right? So again, I'm going to sort by my A client. So I can sort, oops, I can sort by my A clients. I could spell also, that might help. I can sort by my A clients, my B clients, just the whole thing. I can open up the whole database. Now, for this type of update where it's, here's what's happening in the market, right? Or where it's, here's products or services that are available, right? So those simple stories we've been teaching you guys on of sharing those testimonies of what's happening with other people's clients or your own. This is sharing to your people to have the know with all like, wow, people, even if they don't have the need to do something, to hear the story that someone just had their rate bought down.
It's so huge.
For them to know for someone else they know or for a family member is massive. You know, there's this military product, there's this zero product for your people to know that in general. This should go to everybody, right? So
like when Michelle, really quickly. So, you know, Amber McDonald, who's the leader for Rally Point Properties, badass agent. She just made an Instagram story about how she got her property, her listing under contract in just a couple of days, and they got X amount of dollars more than they anticipated, right? And so for all of your sellers on the fence, right, trying to decide if it's a good market or a bad market, to be getting those drip videos are huge, because that's inspirational, it's motivational. It's like, hey, well, wait a minute, the market's not as bad as we thought it was. Man, that's a great video to get out to people.
Yeah.
She actually got a lead from that too.
Awesome, Breeze. But does that
There
make
you
sense,
go.
everybody? So that should, here's how awesome, great KV Core is for those who aren't using it yet. So now I can just have my entire database, or I can sort by whatever category I want. Okay. So I'm just going to pretend I'm doing it to everybody, just as an example. Okay. Because I make something that's relevant. This is important information that anyone should see, right? Even if it's an agent, like everyone should be seeing this kind of information. So I'm going to select all. Okay. And now I have the ability to send that mass email that I just put in once, that mass text. I can also do a video and drop it to everybody. You guys catching my drift?
Yeah.
This is all these three things I'm showing you so far. This is not me calling them, right? Monthly or every 60 days or whatever that structure is. This is part of my automation. I'm putting something that's going to take me 5 minutes to pull up what I want, hit the box to check them all. Now insert my video or my text message and hit send to all 500 people. You guys following me? This is a layer touch that you should be doing at minimum monthly. This is one of your custom touches that should be relevant information that people need to know that you're sending out to everybody once a month. Any questions on this part? Because this is super important, but you have to do the work to put that content or the video or the message together.
Yes, quick question. So when you do the mass video message, you're basically just like uploading a pre-recorded video that you did, correct?
Yep. little recording on your phone saying, hey guys, here's what's going on, right? And then of course the text, you're literally just typing in what you want that message to be, the email, maybe you already pre-done it, you're just copy and pasting it in. And you can insert in, so when it sends to these 500 people, it'll say, hi, Rachel, here's the message, right? Hi, Gabriella, here's the message. Hi, Sarah, here's the message. So it'll still be a direct message to them, but you're literally hitting send once and you're sending it to all, again, 50 or 500 people or 5,000, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Leverage your technology, and everybody should be putting together that information, okay? That's important at minimum once a month, and then pushing it out to the entire database.
And just think about this. If you're terrible at this now, and this only yields one more transaction per month, like your average commission is $15,000, right? So 12 extra transactions a year is 180 grand a year. Do you want that kind of raise? You know, is it worth it to go through the painful acts of setting all this stuff up, right? So it runs throughout the year, making one day a week for your follow-up, right? To go out there and parse through some of these people to make an extra 180 grand a year, which would be considered a failure with your technology. You know what I mean? So imagine that's on the low end. Imagine if you actually had success with it, what that would look like for you and your business.
So are you guys seeing now how, right? So what it's like, where do these 48 touches come from, right? Once a month, I'm sending them a market report. So that's 12 touches, right? Once a month, they're getting that just listed, just sold report. That's 24 touches, right? Once a month, they're getting that, I'm going to call it a market update or whatever video or email or text that you're going to send out to everybody, right? Maybe it's a variation of those each time you do something different, right? That's another 12. So that's 36 touches. And then you're making your touch on top of that, whether it's monthly or whatever it is, your phone call. That's the 48 touches. Does that make sense? Does anyone have questions on that? Like, is this simplified enough on, I can go do that and I can go start doing that now. And I'll show you guys a system of how to get your database caught up to that. Does that make sense to everybody though?
Michelle,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Michelle, I just want to get clear. You did say that we can take a video on our phone and upload it, because I tried and couldn't, and then started paying for BombBomb. So we can do it from our phones.
Can you just say bonbon one more time?
BombBomb.
I'll have to look at that. Rachel. I haven't had to go out to my group in there, so I can't answer as technical of a question on that. But if we're actually doing this, we'll figure it out really quick, right?
So when you guys run into these kind of challenges quickly, Michelle, and then I'll let you get back to what you want to get into. But when you guys run into these challenges, I want you all to understand that you have the resources to fix these, right? Where's a place where you can get the answer to that question very quickly?
The chat.
Anybody?
Dexter.
So Dexter does a 10:30 call every single Wednesday where he does nothing but answer these questions, right? And so maybe it's not an immediate thing. Maybe you can write that down, show up on that meeting and say, hey, Dexter, I can't upload these videos. How do I do this? How do I develop a system for this? And Dexter will literally walk you through that personally and get that set up for you. So everybody write that down. And if you haven't, and if for some of you guys, if you find this stuff too complicated, like I do, for some reason, this stuff doesn't register with me, the hashtags, all of that good stuff, I'm not great with that. We've got a KV Core expert who will either A, do that stuff for you or walk you all the way through it. His name is Dexter, literally computer nerd, named Dexter, for goodness sake, who will help you with all of this good stuff. Okay. But you got to show up. And I know that the attendance to that meeting is very low, right? And you have access to that. Think about the industry. The industry doesn't have access to that. You do. And even within our group, that meeting attendance is very low, right? Tells you why 10% of the agents do 90% of the business. Show up for that. I'm telling you.
So Gagan,
Sorry.
your question that says, how do I add agents to this campaign? It's the same thing. So every agent in our organization is in my KV Core, just like you would put a buyer lead or a seller lead, right? So I can sort by all of the agents and I can drop a text, I can drop an email, I can drop a video, I can send anything I want to that whole group of agents. Does that make sense? Same thing. So now when you have a live stream you're inviting to, or an event or something going on, or information to go out, you can send it to
Okay,
people.
that makes
It's
sense.
just like doing a client. Okay, it's the same exact thing. You're just
Gotcha.
hashtagging them as whatever, as an agent, right? Or whatever that means to you. Same
Okay,
exact
thank
thing
you.
for buyer and seller. Okay. So real quick here before Donna, I answer your question. So here's where most I at least observe where most people fail and get stuck, right? Is you're going to go, okay, Michelle, well, this all sounds great. Okay. You've given me 4 things to do now with each person. Okay. I'm going to segment, I'm going to categorize them. So I'm going to hashtag them, right? I'm going to put them on a market report. I'm going to put them on a just listed, just sold alert. And I'm going to set up to send them out something once a month. And I'm going to do the whole database, right? And I'm going to call them. So technically there's 5 things, right? Great. That sounds easy. This is where most get stuck. Okay. You're gone. You've got 100 people to put in the system. Rachel or someone who's been in the business forever. I've got 2,000 people to put in the system, 500, right? Where do I get started? And it never happens. Okay. Says everybody here. There's no simple way to it. Okay. Because here's the deal. Let's say I had a database list of 500 people and it's a smorgasbord of everything. That's what most of us are dealing with, right? I've got a list of 500 people. It's my hot leads, my old crap stuff, my new lead I got today, my mom and dad, like it's my whole smorgasbord of stuff, right? Who's like that? Who's got, and or even your lists are in different places. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Have that problem.
Yes, yes.
It's called normal. Okay. There's no simple way around this. This is what you do. Okay. What I just showed you, those pieces of automation, probably now it might take you 5 minutes the first couple of times just to figure it out. After that, probably take me a minute or 2 per client max, right? For me, it would probably take 30 seconds. Okay. But let's just call it a minute or 2, right? For one person to set them up. Okay. So here's the deal. Pretend I got a list of, let's call it 500 people, right? What do? Well, I make it part of my job because I'm running a business. Okay. Not just trying to get one deal tomorrow. And I'm going to set up 10 people a day. I'm going to take this giant list of people I have all over the place, and I'm just going to do 10 at a time. Okay. But here's the beauty of that. 10 a day might take me 30 minutes, right? I'm using a nice round number here. 30 minutes a day. I'm going to set up 10 people a day. Means I'm putting them in, I'm categorizing them, I'm hooking them up, which I'll never have to do again. Okay. They're hashtagged. I know how from now I'm going to contact them because I know what to do with them. They're done. Move on to the next. I do that 10 times a day. In 50 days, I would be done forever. You guys following me?
So if you've got a crazy database right now that's all over the place, look in your calendars right now and try to figure out where you can fit 20, 30 minutes a day to put this in your database. You ever have a really dirty house and then you clean up your house and it just feels great, right? Imagine the kind of organization, the organizational feeling or the good feeling that will be in your brain after you actually get your shit together. You know what I mean? Like that feels good and it allows you to get good at other things and focus on other things. But when you're in a dirty house, everything sucks. Everything's harder. Everything's more complicated. I can't think when my desk is a mess. My desk is a mess, let alone when my business is all over the place, right? So take that time and get your shit together, number one, so that you can have a clear head.
Yeah. But does anyone have questions on that? Like that's the form. There's no magic way this is going to happen. You have to do it. You have to block it out. I love the 10 a day because it's all manageable that any of us could block out. This is a core foundation to your business. Once it's done, it's done. You've got 300 people, it's done in 30 days. Imagine in a month from now, having all of your systems in place and now you're just building it moving forward.
Yeah.
Think about that. So does anyone have questions on that system? That's something that's simple enough to go, here's like all my list. Where do I start?
I have a question.
You first.
So Michelle, if you have contacts that you don't have their home address, but you have their email and their phone number, would you intentionally call them back and say, hey, is there any way I can get your home address to make your profile more complete?
100%. So while I'm doing my 10 a day, right, to get them organized, fill it in, also do, so we'll add that 6, right? Or I guess it's the 5th. Make the contact, right? Whether you only have a phone number, whether it's an email, whether it's your sphere, it's an old friend, whatever, old family member, make the contact and let them know that you're updating your systems and your information, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't
have to do that. You just make it a service. Listen, there's a lot of crazy things going on in the marketplace right now. Market's up and down. I want to make sure that you're up to date with everything that's going on in your neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. What's the best address for you, right? Or whatever, what's the best email address for you? Whatever you need, set it up with why you're doing it, right? Don't make it something about you, make it something about them, right?
That touch, while you're doing the 10, make that touch.
Yeah.
So you're killing all birds with one stone, and now you got all those 10 set, and now you're moving on to the next 10, right? You do. The whole system's going to be in order. With some of you guys, it might be a couple of weeks. Some of you guys, it'll be a few months, right? Depending on how your pools of people are, and then you can filter out all of your just target audience people that just go onto automation that just sit over here. Great. Now you've got your core database narrowed down to that 170 people that you can actually actively work. That feels good, and you're leveraging the technology.
Definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, one last thing, and I know we're out of time here. So just back to that question from Donna, because there is another form of automation that's great, that you can also add as another layer just based on, but you have to know what the status is of somebody, right? And that's these active campaigns. And so what Donna was meaning, when you do the ads through KV Core, or you do the core property boosts and you have people come in, they'll automatically get set up on a new buyer campaign. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean by this really quick. Now we're getting a little more technical, but if you guys go under marketing, under so we'll just go to all marketing, but there's something called smart campaigns, and these are your pre-set up text and email campaigns for someone's an expired, someone's my sphere, someone's a past client, someone's from an open house, someone's an internet buyer lead, on and on and on, right? So they're pre-set up notifications that are going to drip on that client from the moment they come in. Okay, so these you can also set up, and I'll give you an example. I have separate training videos on how this works, but whether it's someone that's a new internet lead, whether it's someone that is someone in my sphere that's a homeowner, whatever, right? I'm just giving you an example. When I click into these, it's going to show me that this is a system that's going to automatically send an email. Okay, it's going to send a text 35 days out, 65 days out, they get an email, 120 days out, they get a text. You guys have seen this? So there's a drip system pre-set up that's going to automatically go out to this person for a 990-day period. Okay, as an example, just in this one campaign, you can hit edit and view. You can see what the content says. You can edit it. There's little videos in here that'll show you exactly how to do that. But this is what Donna was talking about, that you can have these set up automatically when your leads come in. And then you want to categorize them and hashtag them, put them on a market report in addition to this, those kinds of things, right? On property alerts, if they're an active buyer or whatever they might be. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how these work. I have a separate video on how to set all this up. And here's how you see all of those campaigns. And then going back to, I know we're ending right now, but just real quick here before we end, going back to my, into the actual client record. Let's jump into this real quick. That's all done from right here, right? So if I was inside that client going, I want this client to get that campaign, right? All I'm simply saying add, and now I can go pick. I'm just going to go pick that one, right? I'm going to go add that campaign. That's now also going to that customer because that makes sense for them. Okay. So that's just another layer of automation that you have to set up per what status someone's.
Michelle, can you just backtrack one step to get into the property alerts and how you just did that real quick?
Yeah.
So
For
like
the campaign.
right before that.
So there's a step to this. So if you just haven't been to KV Core before, you haven't done this yet, when you go to add the campaigns like I did,
Yeah.
right? So add campaign, add campaign. What am I doing weird? Okay, select campaign. So see how I have all these options? Yours
Yeah.
Taylor, right now, if you haven't done this step first, is going to show these all. There's going to show nothing there. So just one time, okay,
Yeah.
you need to go over here to your dashboard. Okay,
Yeah.
you need to go to marketing, go to the smart campaigns. Okay, so I'll just go to all marketing. Did I click it? Sorry. Okay, go to the smart campaign. Okay. From here, it's going to show you the library. This is basically like the KV Core library is what it defaults to.
It's like templates.
Yeah, it's basically all the templates that exist.
Okay.
All you're simply going to do is add these to your library. So let's just say you go
Okay.
add all of them, or maybe you're like, oh, I want these 10, like because there's a lot of them, right? Let's say
Okay.
there's 100 of them. Maybe you only want these 10 to 20. So
Okay.
all you do is go add this to my library, add to me, add to me, add to me, add to me, add to me. Once you do that one time, now
Okay.
at any time that you're in your system, okay, and I'll just pick random person for sake of time here, right? Now, at any time I can go into my active campaigns and it's now going to show me whatever options I added to my library. So you just have to do that step once, and then all those campaigns are there. So you can assign them whoever they are. Okay? Past client, active lead, open house, FSBO, whatever.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, I know it's a lot of information. I'm letting the people in here for my orientation, but we're just wrapping this class. Was this helpful to you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very helpful.
Very helpful.
Very helpful.
So good. Really quickly, guys, builders call on Thursday. will not be taking place because there is an event in Washington State. So that call won't be there. I want to say congratulations to everybody who's been sending in their tracking sheets. After one day of FSBO role play on the Breakfast Club, right? It's FSBO week on the Breakfast Club. For those of you guys who don't know, 41 appointments set after the first day. I think I jumped in. Amanda Weller was setting appointments this morning, right? To add to that number. Great job, guys. You guys are crushing it. That's how we take over a marketplace, because now we're all coached and trained to go out there and hunt. And hunting you guys did. So paid in full at cofoundersgroup.com is where you're sending your tracking sheets. Yes, I see them every day. Yes, James Hemphill, I see yours every day. Thank you for sending those in. But we're doing FSBOs all week. And then Friday, we're going to learn how to follow up with the FSBOs. Now, next Tuesday, do you guys feel like you want help with scripting and how to reach out to these people that you're putting drip campaigns on, right? What to say, how to extract information,
Yes.
all of that
Absolutely.
good stuff. We'll be going over that next Tuesday. That's my specialty. That's what I love to do. That's what I'm good at. You got the best in the business for that. I can't wait for that. Michelle, anything else?
I'm excited. No, guys, I hope we've hit home enough how foundational this is to your entire future business. So all I can emphasize is spend the time, go back and rewatch this one. It'll be posted, probably in the next hour. Go back and watch last week. This is the foundation. Once you set it, your system is set up. This will build for you over the years to come. And it's important that everyone puts it in place. So that's it.
Real quick, Michelle, the action items for today are?
So it would be so here's, it would be to now go take action, but you have to create your structure, right? Of going, what can I commit? The example I used was 10 a day. I think that's a pretty good number that anyone can do. Some of you guys might be more ambitious than that, but make whatever commitment that is to you. I'm going to plug in and set up 10 a day. And then you should also know how many days it's going to be done, because how good does that feel when you have that progress and you're halfway and then you're done in a month from now? How cool is that, right? So you should know what that plan is and roughly how long it's going to take you to have it all done.
Create the
Michelle, that's a
structure
huge,
and schedule it.
huge deal to have a deadline. It's huge.
Yes,
Yes.
10 a day. In 30 days, it's done.
All right.
Dexter
So thank
has
you
a thing
guys.
tomorrow.
What's that?
Dexter's class is tomorrow in the morning.
Yes.
Dexter's class is tomorrow at 10:30. If you're having trouble with that, pop on. It's just open and he'll answer any questions that you have. So you're not really sitting through a meeting or a seminar or anything like that. It's just Dexter's there to help you with whatever you need. Again, we know that 10% of the agents do 90% of the business, right? We know that 90% of agents are terrible at follow-up, right? We know that only 10% really use their CRM system. And typically those are the 10% that are doing 90% of the business. Real estate math there, guys. So implement, don't make this another meeting that you attend where you don't implement. And let's see you next Tuesday and let's start building, stacking bricks, brick by brick by brick by brick is how we're going to build an amazing business, right? The grind is great, but everything that we do is structured to grind ourselves out of that grind and make a better life for ourselves, right? You guys all agree with me on that?
100%.
Yep, 100.
Grind it up then, guys. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
I'll
Thanks
see
for
a lot
joining.
of you guys.
Thank you.